Well, once the cars come out of the booth, you can do one of two things. You can deliver it to the customer, or you can cut and polish it. And Norton's come up with a really slick system. It starts from A to Z, takes you right through, and it's not for the show car that's going to go to Pebble Beach or going to try and win the Riddler. It's for great street cars and cars that you're going to show, but you don't have to spend 50 hours cutting and polishing. We're going to start with their Dry Ice 1500, and it's real simple. It goes on a DA, and this is all done dry. You're just going to start over the panel, and it's like a DA. It's going to start cutting that panel down. And what you want here is it to cut nice and consistently and nice and evenly. Now you can see you have the orange peel here, and you can see as we go down, it's sanded totally out, and it's a smooth finish so the light can refract properly. Well, the next step we want to do is we want to go to the 3000 grit, the foam finishing disc. So we're going to remove the 1500. You can see it's actually got a foam backing on it, and it's almost a little bit porous where it's going to take some of the dirt away, and it's actually going to help with pigtails. And what a pigtail is basically a chunk of dirt gets stuck and it gets spun around there, and it's going to create a big scratch. At this point too, you want to wet down the system a little bit. You don't have to go nuts here, but you want it at least a little bit damp. Then we're ready to just take a microfiber again and just see exactly what we've got as far as if there's any imperfections left on the panel before we start polishing. The next stage is polishing, and they have a real simple system. They have 3 different pads. You see 1, 2, and 3. Start off with number 1. You're going to put it on your polishing, and you want an adjustable polisher, so you want to start out roughly 1,000 RPM with the coarse wool pad, because this will cut aggressively. Okay, then what we're going to use is they've got an extra cut, their liquid ice, and you're just going to put a little bit on, and you don't need a whole ton. And before you just fire this thing up, you want to put a little spritz of water on there. Okay, and don't just fire it up or you're going to make a mess. So just roll it around first, and then go nice and slow. And make sure that you always cut off the edge. So never, always have the rotation of the polisher working off the panel, not onto the panel, off an edge, not onto an edge, because that's how you'll burn it. And trust me, it doesn't take long to burn a panel. Okay. Now we're ready to go to something a little bit finer. So we're going to go to the blue foam pad. Stick that on. Add a little, and we still have some compound there, so we'll use it up. And we're also going to increase the RPM a little bit here to about 1,500 RPM. You can already see how nice it's coming up. You can just use your hand too to see if you're creating any heat. That's what the water is going to do. It's going to help cool it as it's cutting it. You don't want to push too hard because you're going to create too much heat and you'll have the chance of burning it. Once you've got virtually all the scratches removed, you're down to the last pad, the number 3 pad, which is a really fine pad. And then you use a little bit more of the cutting compound. Again, I always like to just have a little bit of water on there. Again, we're going to stay at about the 1,500 RPM. And this doesn't have to be super wet. And when it starts to jump like that, that means you're creating too much friction. Give it a little bit more water. Now you're ready to use their liquid ice, which is basically a detailer. We use this on the cars in the showroom all the time, but it can show you exactly what you've got. And if you've missed any spots at this stage, you can go back to any step and just redo it. You can see the new Norton system, they have it down pat. They have all the pads, they have all the materials that you're going to need, they have all the sandpapers. It's almost idiot proof. Just watch the edges and you're going to get a show quality finish in half the time of the traditional method. Well, if this were a dark colored car as opposed to this gold metallic, we'd be using this for the final step, the ultra fine machine glaze. It makes the dark colors just pop. That's best practices, defect removal, and buffing.